Alrighty. Sorry there wasn't a stream yesterday. I tried red wine for the first time and it sucked. Yeah.
Leave some candy for me, or beware of what you see.
You wander over to the place where your bro keeps his sweet turntable gear. Man, that setup is sweet. You feel pangs of jealousy whenever you walk by it. Really cool jealousy, though, like the kind where instead of getting all worked up about it, you don't actually give a shit. One of your brother's rad and extremely expensive ninja swords is missing, though. You know this drill all too well. Trouble's a brewin'. Dave, take the expensive ninja sword. What sword? Dave exits his brother's room. He approaches the exit. There's something on the door he hasn't seen before. Looks like it's one of his brother's ironic comics he left for him to check out. Okay, some of this stuff you know he's leaving around just to get under your skin. This is obviously another ploy in his relentless siege of one-upmanship to get your goat. The same goat you've been meaning to bleat like ironically, but that'll still have to wait for a more appropriate time. You think he knows that deep down you feel like you're still not ironic enough to get stuff like this. And this is probably some weird gauntlet he's throwing down to see if you'll get it. But honestly, you think this material is just a little too ironic. You just don't need to see this shit right now. Dave goes into the kitchen. No sign of his brother in here either. Well, aside from the absurd quantity of awesome dangerous stuff he leaves lying around. Dave transfers katana to Striped Specibus. With an escalating sense of threat, he thinks it's time to shift 9, his katana 9, to his Specibus. He figures it's better to free up the card anyway, since he might need to grab some of this stuff. Dave sets the blender to mix. He guesses his bro set some fake blood capsules in the puppet. Pretty gross. He spots one of his bro's many webcams nearby, recording the incident. It seems he may have just been an unwitting accessory to some sort of grisly puppet snuff film. He's not totally sure how he feels about that. Dave captulogs the Buster Sword from behind the microwave. It might be the only thing in the whole apartment that's a bigger piece of shit than his own sword. He puts it back behind the microwave where it belongs. Dave sets the blender to crush ice. It's just sort of bouncing around in there. He's making a bit of a mess now. Dave hides evidence in the microwave. See, his hobbies are cool and all, and he guesses he's got to put the stuff somewhere. But what if he wanted to heat up a burrito or something? This kitchen is pretty much useless. Dave grabs those fireworks. He captulogs all the fireworks. 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 15% of 10 equals 5. The sink has to offer. He just knows these are going to come in handy. Why would they be in the sink if they weren't? Looks like one of them is still stuck in the garbage disposal. Dave captulogs shurikens. He grabs the shurikens, 5, and... Hey, careful where you're putting stuff, especially if you're looking to turn your Silodex into a powder keg full of sharp things. He puts the box of fireworks, 3, back into the card 5, and prepares to start over. Or card 3, apparently. That settles that, he guesses. Dave takes the nunchucks. Once again, grabbing without thinking ahead. He captulogs the box, 5 again, while adeptly avoiding the shuriken trap, which he himself set only moments ago. He again rounds up all the fireworks. Time to regroup here. He captulogs each shuriken individually. Shuriken is just 3, and so he captulogs them one at a time, knocking out the nunchucks. But no worries, he's got a plan. Captulogs the nunchucks. He takes the nunchucks, and they are captulogged to slot 6. Everything seems to be in order now. It would have been badass to go with the authentic Japanese names for each weapon, but sometimes, with this modus, you just have to compromise. He examines the fetch modus. He flips over the fetch modus to check out the back. He's not really sure where it is he's keeping it, but oh well, who cares? Dave presses the eject button. Not after all that trouble he went through to get that stuff sorted. This is potentially a very dangerous button. Dave changed to Scrabble Points hash modus. First, he programs the modus with the Scrabble Points hash function, adding it to the list. A equals 1, B equals 3, C equals 3, D equals 2, E equals 1, F equals 4, G equals 2, H equals 4, I equals 1, J equals 8, K equals 5, L equals 1, M equals 3, N equals 1, O equals 1, P equals 3, Q equals 10, R equals 1, S equals 1, T equals 1, U equals 1, V equals 4, W equals 4, X equals 8, Y equals 4, Z equals 10. It might be a cool function to use, but it looks like he'll have to empty his Rolodex to select this. He's just not going to do that yet. No way. Dave checks the box. Detect collisions. Okay. Dave takes the skateboard. And just what is this guy so happy about? What's he looking at up there? He thinks if he sees one more soft bulbous bottom being like just kind of jutting out and imputed or whatever, he's just gonna fly off the handle. He takes the skateboard. 6. Actually, no, he didn't. A collision has been detected. He takes the, wheeled, ride. Man, his inventory's nomenclature is getting lamed by the minute. He capture logs the unplugged power cord. He takes the power cord. Wait, no, not going to work. He thinks of a new word for power cord. He takes the battery pack? No, not that. He takes the battery pack using the Y as a consonant to make it count as 9. His Rolodex reluctantly accepts. It's a tactic notoriously employed by hashmap noobs, but he just doesn't care about that now. Besides, it's not like his bros are around to see. He searches for some mad snacks, yo. Oh, it was just little Cal again. You can never stay mad at him. Anyway, he's got to get this wayward hunger under control. He figures he ought to scope the fridge for some grub. This hunger is so ill-mannered, it would make a room full of snooty dowagers commit mass suicide. Wowza. Dave opens the refrigerator. Oh god, more shitty swords. Of course he knew these were in there. He's not even sure why he looked. If he wants to keep any food or beverages in this apartment, he's got no choice but to stuff it away in his closet. Dave takes the swords. The hell with it. He tries to take the entire jumble of unbelievably shitty swords and braces himself for... Looks like that works, actually. 2. He capture logs the jumble of unbelievably shitty swords. Dave uses the ice maker. It's still hot around here. He dispenses several cherry bombs. Wait. Who's that looking at him in the reflection? the little dude scamper off to this time? Dave captulogs the cherry bombs. Unsuccessfully. After mulling it over a bit, he takes the red spherical salutes and captulogs them in slot 1. Dave takes the blender. Blender is a pretty simple word, and he can already tell that's not going to work. Instead, he takes the whirling blade pitcher. That's really a much better name for it anyway, he thinks. Dave activates the garbage disposal. Dave stuffs down Mr. Purple Guy into the garbage disposal. He's still not sure what he's so happy about, or what he's looking up at there. While he's at it, he dumps the contents of the blender, the whirling blade pitcher, into the disposal. But he suffers an unfortunate garbage disposal head jam. He notices something in the reflection. Something above him. Dave looks up. It's the hatch to the crawl space above his apartment. His brother's always tucking away in there when he's busting out his rad stylish stunts. He's so stick that dangling cord never even jostles. He just knows he's being ironic with these weird mind games. There's no way anyone would be serious about aping those shitty movies. Dave uses the turntables and cinder blocks to make a fort. It's a pretty sweet fort he just made, and he's pretty sure his brother would agree. Under different circumstances, he might be high-fiving over it right now. But rather than get inside and take her for a spin, he really just needs to use it to get up to that hatch. Dave yanks the cord. It's time to face his destiny. No going back now. Yeah, there was pretty much no way there wasn't going to be a bunch of puppets in there. Okay, wait, hold on. Why am I getting this stupid game for you? You're the one who should be breast deep in puppet ass. What is the specific problem? The problem is I'm up to my goddamn neck in fucking puppet tongue. Okay. Dave reads the note on the hatch. Bro, roof now, bring Cal. We're doing it, man. We're making this happen. Dave bursts out of the puppet pile like the one. Dave, be the other guy. You're now the other guy. John takes towels and sheets from bed and makes a tent. This is so much fun. A huge waste of time, yes, but so much fun. John carves a totem of the punched pogo card. He puts the punched card containing the pogo ride in the slot and carves a totem from one of the Clarksite dolls. John repeats the process with the other cards and dolls. He uses the card containing the code for the hammer, as well as the one with the random code he punched all over the shaving cream for the hell of it. He carves the respective totems for the cards. He does the same with the captcha-log card. He makes a totem for a captcha-log card. Pretty bare-bones looking totem, if you ask you. Rose collects the totems. Rose produces a captcha-log card. The alchemitor requires 1 unit of any type of grist to produce one card. You decide to use shale since it seems less generally useful than build grist as of now. You make a whole bunch of them. Whoa, did you just make all these? Yes. Sweet, thanks. What did you do with all the blue wobbly vase-looking things? I brought the totems out to the alchemister to test them. I'm taking some things into my own hands to save time. Okay. You create a hammer at the expense of 2 units of build grist. You make a pogo ride too. -5 build, 1 shield. You use the totem you carved with a random code. You create a rocket pack with some random crap stuck inside it. Looks like a cinder block, a violin, a flower pot. The items seem to have rendered the device completely inoperable. You figure you might as well put this piece of junk to use. John collects the cards. Using a little strategy, first he grabs a Harry Anderson's Wise Guy by Mike Caveney, then the cards, then his ejected PDA, then the book again to flush the cards out of his deck. Nice going. John turns on detect collisions. Huh. He flips his fetch mode eye but finds no such option. Oops. This is idiotic. John, read the book, be the wise guy. He never really understood what Caveney's relation to Anderson was, or why he wrote this book about him. His ambivalent attitude towards your favorite magician in these anecdotes always struck you as a little weird. And to be honest, you tend not to read much of the text in the book. You mostly look at the diagrams for all the cool tricks. Oh yeah, that's right. The old hole in the ace trick. Interesting enough, pertaining to punching holes in cards and making them disappear and stuff. Your hands were never really strong enough to make this work all that well either. But actually, this gives you an idea. You overlap 2 of the munched cards. They mask each other's hole patterns. He puts both cards into the totem lathe. He carves another totem using the new combined hole pattern. He takes it to the alchemister. It looks like Rose made a million hammers for some reason. Getting all this shit out of the way, he's about to make something sweet. He got the pogo hammer. He practices with his new weapon. What did you do? I combined the cards in the lathe thing and I made this. It is so sweet, man. Look at me go. I see. That was a really good idea, John. Nice work. Thanks. I got the idea from Harry Anderson. Who? You know the show Night Court? No? Well, bottom line is, he's awesome. That's really all there is to say on the matter. John attacks the nearest imp to test the pogo hammer's strength. He gets a vicious rhythmic combo going and easily slays the imp in one blow. He and the pogo ride are catapulted sky high in the process. Sweet catch. Rose pesters John. Hey, that was a pretty, nice, sweet catch. Save. Oh, yeah. That. This is pretty comfy. Why don't you just, carry the bat around with me on it? Up to the gate up there. I can't interact with you directly or anything that you're touching, if it'll result in moving you. See? Oh, lame. The game probably regards that as a kind of cheating, in a way saving you of your free will as an adventurer and the need to advance by your own skill and ingenuity. The server player is just a facilitator. Well, okay. All that scurrying around kind of wore me out. I think I'm gonna just rest here for a bit. Rose, can you keep the imps at bay, drop some stuff on them if they sneak too close? No, you should pick up your hammer and defend yourself. What? Come on. I have no idea what the hell Dave is up to or if he's any closer to recovering the game. There's some stuff I'd like to try in case he doesn't come through. Alright. I'm just gonna rest my eyes here a second, though. John sleeps. Rose checks the alchemy exercise. It looks like a sort of index documenting all the known results for punch card alchemy combinations. This could be a convenient resource as you start to stumble on more useful card combinations. But ever since John started punching cards, you've been contemplating other ways the item manufacturing system could be put to use. In particular, if you obtain the code for any item at your disposal, you think you could theoretically send a code to John and he could make it himself. That is, if you could think of anything that would be worth sending to him. Rose captchalogs the Spurb server CD. She ejects the disk and captchalogs the server CD. She messages John the captcha code. Oh, god damn it. Facepalm combo times 2. John wakes up. Hey. Whoa, there you are. How's your adventure going, John? It's okay. I'm making some progress. And Rose finally connected a hand, so she's helping me now. That's good. Oh, but I don't think I'm actually saving the world here. I don't know what I'm really accomplishing, but I guess it's not that. Well, I think whatever it is, it must be pretty important. Don't lose hope, John. I think it'll all turn out for the best if you stay positive. Just keep listening to your grandmother's advice. Yeah, you're probably right, but I don't think I mentioned Nana to you, did I? Oh, I don't know, didn't you? I don't know. Maybe you talked to Rose or Dave about it or something. Yeah, maybe that was it. They're really weird when they talk to me about you. They're always trying to convince me you have spooky powers, but I'm always like, no, she seems like a pretty regular girl to me. Hehehe. But then when I think back, maybe there are times when it seems like you know some things. Maybe you are more about a thing than you're telling me. I don't know. Oh well, John, I want to explain lots of things to you. Some things that I know, I'm just waiting. Waiting for what? Oh, John, I forgot I was messaging you about that meteor that fell near my house. Oh yeah, whatever happened with that? Oh boy, well, it turns out I was confused about it. Really confused. See, I guess I fell asleep for a while and lost track of time. That happens. Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. Maybe you should, wear an alarm clock or something? So what was the deal with the meteor? Well, it's hard to explain, but I know what it is now. And And now I know everything's going to be okay. So what is it? Or is it just another thing you're waiting to tell me? Oh gosh, John, I really want to tell you all this stuff, but I can't yet. I really think you need to wake up first, huh? Well, okay, not literally. Well, okay, maybe kinda literally. Stop being so confusing. Lol. Anyway, time for you to go, John. I think you have some company. Garden Gnostic ceased pestering ectobiologist. At question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. John quickly grabs the pogo hammer. He sticks the pogo hammer back into his specibus to get ready to kill some more of those pesky little... Huh? What's that? Rose, why aren't you dropping something on that thing? Oh no. John, be the imp. You be the imp and quickly abscond the fuck out of here. This is what weaker adversaries do whenever things get too hot to handle, which is frequently. John prepares for a boss battle. He stops being the imp because that was stupid and scurries over to the magic chest that he suddenly remembers was on the roof. There's some things in here that would be good to stock up for a major battle. But it looks like someone has plundered the chest. This is so outrageous. You are being ambushed. There isn't much room to maneuver on this sloping roof. Maybe you should consider making your way to higher ground. John ascends to the highest point of the house. He goes up here. John looks down. He peeks over the edge. It already seems like a long way down to your yard, not even to speak of whatever's below. Hey, weren't your trick handcuffs hanging from the branch earlier? Damn it, why do imps gotta be making off with all your sweet gear? John turns around. You are confronted with a pair of enormous foes. This is it. You have no choice but to wage a fierce rooftop battle. This is totally going to happen now, and could in no way conceivably be interrupted by a sudden shift in our attention. It's go time. It's time to do this thing. We're doing it, man. We're making this happen. Dave, stop being the other guy. You stop being the other guy. You're not even sure what that meant anyway. Dave ascends to the highest point of the building. Psych. Oh wait. Double psych out combo. You are now the wayward vagabond. WV, retreat. Got 'em already. Examine rotten pumpkin. What pumpkin? Check the little red bar. It appears to be a gauge for the large power cell, perhaps fueled by some type of nuclear reaction. If this is the case, it is relatively low on fuel, but who knows how long it's been running here? You do not care about this sort of nonsense, and you'll disregard it at once. You're very hungry. Captchalogue the can of gravy. Captchalogue? You have no idea what that means. It is total nonsense, and you do not know what to make of it. You will not give the foolish notion a second thought. Pick up the can of gravy. Just pick it up. You just pick it up. You are now holding a can of gravy. Use sharp teeth to poke a hole in the lid of the can. Your teeth are useless for the task. They are blunt like that of a livestock, presumably suitable for mashing up plant matter and not for puncturing metal. Attempt to open a can with your weak, pathetic digits. Your weak, pathetic digits are not strong enough to penetrate the seal. Your fingers are certainly pointy enough, and your black carapace is suitably rigid, but you just don't have enough muscle for the task. Take the can labeled beans. Okay, you take that too. Examine can of custard. The can clearly reads mustard, a fact of which you were perfectly well aware. It is sort of cumbersome, holding all these cans at once. You doubt you can hold many more items than this, maybe one or two. You'll need to find something to put stuff in, if you want to carry around a lot of things. Examine marking on wrist. You drop all the cans and take a look at your wrist. It's a sort of specialized barcode pattern. This brings up unpleasant memories, and you prefer not to dwell on it. Examine the small potted plant. What plant? Check the book on human etiquette. It appears half the pages in the book have been eaten. The daunting volume is considerably lighter than it once was. You're somewhat skeptical about the nutritional value contained by these pages. However, of the practical wisdom they contain, there can be little doubt. You've learned so much. Clear out all the cans inside the purple machine. You empty the peculiar cabinet and take a quick inventory of your canned goods. You have beans, mustard, gravy, bread, shrimp, asparagus, cheese, rice, corn, peas, flour, chestnuts, mayo, ham, potatoes, and squash. Such bountiful plenty. And yet, the delights taunt you from within their small metal prisons. Search room for can opener. You've already looked all over the place for a can opener, even making a few electronic inquiries about that one. To no avail. Nothing else inside the purple thing either. Locate a nearby sharp object. You wield your trusty knife. It is actually you're not sure what they're called. It's an old rusted one of those red mailbox arm swing flappy doodles. Either for letting you know there's mail in the mailbox, or maybe for alerting the mailman to outgoing mail to be collected. You don't know, really. You've wrapped a little piece of cloth around it for the grip. It is useless for opening cans. Be the imp. This means nothing to you. You're not an imp. You have no idea what an imp is. And you will not entertain such frivolous and childish ideas ever again. You feel stupid and hate yourself a little for even considering it. Become the mayor of Cantown. As the glorious founder and mayor of Cantown, you erect a dignified, majestic city hall out of cans, fittingly capped off with a tome of good manners on the roof. You've given yourself a very official and important-looking mayoral sash made out of old cables to complete your look of authority. A number of rather civic-minded citizen cans gather in front of the building to offer adulation to their fair and magnanimous leader. All is well. You immerse yourself in this beautiful dream as you whittle away the minutes, or possibly hours. You love the idea of being a mayor. You love everything about mayors. and the concept of an orderly civil democracy. It all seems so mannerly and reasonable to you. Everyone is friendly and happy, and the city runs like clockwork. The foundation of the government is based on mutual respect between the leader and its people. It is also built on having a really great mayor that everyone loves, who is totally amazing and heroic and brave. Mayors are also so much better than kings. You hate kings and you think kings are really stupid. They're petty, bossy tyrants and are really full of themselves and are basically awful in every way. God, you hate kings. Explore west of Cantown. Over here is the other side of the room. There's another one of those purple storage boxes, and some useless objects scattered on the floor. Use glowing green rock to open cans. You pick up a nugget of uranium and... Oh, that was so stupid. Why would you do that? Examine the box of crayons. It's chalk. Inside the box are 12 pieces of chalk in every color of the 10 pieces of chalk in most colors of the rainbow. You're excited by this. Try to open the storage box. It's locked. There must be some sort of release mechanism for this thing. Examine the contents of the yellow container. It's full of motor oil. This does not seem useful to you right now. Rescue that poor lightning bug. There's nothing you can do for this new little friend. Attempting to crush the amber encasing the firefly would simply cause it harm. It nevertheless bravely flashes on. You find this light alluring, inspiring. To you it seems as if it could quite easily serve as the light of democracy. Use the chalk to draw some roads. You sketch a handsome network of sprawling thoroughfares for your citizens to traverse. The adoring population applauds its mayor's keen instincts for city planning. You even add some lush vegetation to your city with a piece of blue chalk because you can't find a more suitable color for some reason. Ugh. I need to grab something right quick. I'll be right back.
I know you're dying for some candy.
You lay a chalk foundation for Cantown's civic growth. You develop westward, settling those fertile plains and claiming them for your city. You section off a number of residential and commercial zones for civic growth. arranged in the only logical pattern that occurs to you. You color the residential zones with your piece of white chalk, but for some reason, none of the colors in the box strike you as suitable for the commercial zones. Perhaps there's an alternative. Use your own pee for the commercial zones? You cannot urinate because you have not had anything to drink in quite some time. You're very thirsty. Also, that is a really terrible idea, and you would not consider befouling your wonderful city in that way for even a moment. Use motor oil to designate commercial zones? You fill each empty square with a bit of motor oil to complete the stoning. It looks rather striking to you. You can hardly imagine that an up-and-coming young can trying to make it in the world would not be delighted to live in your fair district. You're very careful not to get any of the unpleasant fluid on your person. You peel the label from the can of mayo and affix it to your sash. You survey the surroundings in search of more terrain for the city. It seems you've run out of territory for your western expansion, but there is still a lot of empty wall space. Perhaps your citizens would be happier with a colorful backdrop that would make them feel more at home. Using most of your imagination and an entire piece of sky blue chalk, you render a bright and cheerful sky full of clouds. You've decided that very closely orbiting your city is a luminous planet about which orbits a single moon. You switch to another shade of blue and continue rendering on the western wall. Orbiting much further from your city are 4 planets. None of these have satellites. You've decided. Yes, that makes sense, you think? And on the southern wall, beyond an impenetrable veil of darkness, occupying the furthest orbit yet, there's an ominous planet. The moon circles this one too. You check that rampaging boy on the screen. Oh yeah, it's that guy. You'd almost forgotten about him and his confusing shenanigans. It seems like he has things well in hand at the time. He doesn't appear to need your help. And you have already concluded that he cannot help you, at least for the time being. You try to turn on the other 3 screens. You have no idea how to do so. There's no mouse for this weird quadra-monitored computer. It can only be operated through text commands from its keyboard. Perhaps there's a special key or command which will allow you to switch to another monitor? You press Tab. Huh. You consume several cans. You free the heavenly brown elixir from the jewels of pink carapace that imbibe like the wind. It is so sweet and sugary you wonder how so much sugar can fit in one can. Whatever mighty wizard concocted this potion is truly deserving of your fear and respect. You welcome the rest into the city. The tabs are naturalized as loyal new citizens of Cantown. All cans are welcome and equal in your city, regardless of can content and whether empty or full. It's not like emptying a can kills it or anything. They are just cans after all. You hit escape. Feeling refreshed and heavily caffeinated, you go back to work on the big monitor. You hit escape, which seems to minimize the action window thingy and reveals a history of all the commands you've entered. Use the arrow key to scroll up a bit. You can't believe how much you've already typed into this stupid contraption. What a waste of time. You scroll all the way up to your first command. It looks like there are more commands above it. Maybe someone was entering commands on this thing before you. There aren't many more. At the top of this list, there appears to be the very first command. You type switch 2. You activate screen 2. The signal is garbled, and you have no idea what you're looking at. Some sort of filthy beggar pleading for help. No one is around, and nothing is happening. You seem to be locked out of any sort of interaction with whatever's happening on this monitor. You type switch 3. It's another one of those rapscallions. This monitor is locked too. You can't tell him what to do. Not that you really want to, since it just looks like more confusing nonsense to you. You consider switching to screen 4, but decide against it. You have a feeling that whatever is there would just confuse you even more, and you don't even really care all that much anyway. You type home. All 4 screens activate. Together, they display a countdown, starting at 4 hours and 13 minutes. You type reboot. You can't. Nothing is working anymore. The timer seems to have disabled the keyboard. You be the mayor. Enough of this nonsense. You're an important mayor, and this absurd contraption has wasted enough of your time. You've got a city to govern, with carapist fist, which is to say firm, yet polished, and supple as the situation demands. Anyway, this will help kill some time while you wait for that clock to count down. You create employment opportunities for the citizen cans. You temporarily dismantle City Hall to free up all the can power available to create a vigilant town militia. You divide them into 2 groups, marking them with distinct teams and ranks. Using the piece of white chalk and the motor oil, you organize them in a phalanx across the countryside, preparing for a stiff training regimen. When you're through with them, your forces will be a well-oiled machine. Chalk another one up to bold leadership. You lead your men to victory. You waste more than 4 hours on this tomfoolery. You mourn the loss of Citizen Tab. Your caffeinated jittering must have agitated all the little bubbles curiously hidden in the liquid, creating too much pressure in the can. You speculate this is why it exploded as you nervously eye the timer. You're starting to wonder what will happen when it reaches 0. Maybe it would be best not to be near when this happens. Minutes in the future. There were perhaps not as few as implied by circumstance. A peregrine mendicant trundles precious cargo beneath the gleam of the celestially ominous. You go outside and get some sun. You say bittersweet goodbye to your beloved city. It is time to move on to greener pastures, by which of course you mean an arid, sandy wasteland upon which nothing green has grown in years. The door shuts behind you. A panel on the door becomes illuminated. As you ponder over the marks of the panel, you hear another mechanical sound overhead. The LCD panel, which appears to have a touchscreen interface. You curiously prod the funny-looking spirograph. It appears the funny-looking spirograph room is locked. The floor rotates a full 360 degrees beneath you, while the surrounding wall seems to stay put. You select the triangle fractal. It does not appear to be locked. The floor turns 120 degrees and the door opens. You go through the door to find another room. It's the same size as the other one you just wasted all that time in. While the clock was ticking down to something which may or may not be your doom. Maybe there is something in here that will help you escape. Against the wall there's another perplexing contraption. Against this wall is some sort of control panel which catches your eye. It has two large screens, but only one appears to be active. There are fields for numbers which appear to be modifiable with the dials to the right. Some numbers are already supplied by default, perhaps entered by the previous user. There are a few buttons below, the largest one bearing a symbol marking this room. Also, it looks like there's a meter stick propped up there for some reason. You attach your trusty knife to the meter stick. You immediately craft a measuring spear through possibly the most advanced form of alchemy employed thus far. This is obviously the most important thing to do first. Obviously. Or it would obviously be the most important thing to do if you had remembered to bring your trusty knife. You feel so insecure without your trusty knife, it makes you want to flog your piss with some sort of measuring apparatus. You examine the perplexing contraption across the room. You of course have no idea what good it could possibly do. You adopt the only course of action, which is to poke and prod it with your handy ruler. You're quite sure this is what science is all about. You press the triangle pattern. You go back to the control panel, which is obviously controls that gizmo, and you push the big blue button, which probably is the most obvious thing to push. You purify a pumpkin. You examine the pumpkin. It seems this mysterious gourd was purified, from a specific time and location somewhere on this planet you're on. You wonder if the machine, a purifier, will take any object that exists at whatever time and location you supply. There's a symbol carved in the pumpkin. You don't know what it means, and you doubt it will even ever prove to be relevant in any way. You devour the pumpkin. You consider dining on the right flesh of the plump vegetable, but your curiosity about the purifier gets the better of you. You try to sneak a nibble from the pumpkin nonetheless. You inspect the green buttons. The icon for the one on the left is that house shape you've seen plenty of times before. The one on the right, on closer inspection, appears to be the map for this underground facility, with an X marking its center. You press the green button on the right. All of the numbers change. Perhaps those are the coordinates for the location of the center of this facility, along with the local date and time. If this is the case, it would make a useful reference point for your current bearings. You fiddle with the dials. One way to find out would be to attempt to purify something from this facility. It should be easy to zero in on a location relative to the center because you have an uncanny knack for tracking precise distances you have already traversed, in whatever units you choose. Your handy ruler gives you a good clue as to the basic unit of human measurement. You'll go with that. You attempt to purify your trusty knife. You nudge the coordinates very slightly and bump up the elevation by 0.5 human measurement units. Make sure to keep the time approximately what it was to begin with. You purify your trusty knife. You purify Cantown. You nudge the numbers a bit more and purify a bunch of cans. This is so much more efficient than walking back to the other room to get them. You ought to believe that time is at a premium after all. You de-purify the pumpkin. Does the machine look like a de-purifier to you? Honestly, the idea that a purifier could both purify and de-purify things is so laughably ridiculous. You would wish someone would de-purify your brain and re-purify it with a brain that is more smart and less dumb. You use the trusty knife to carve Spook Shima in the pumpkin. What the hell are you talking about? The idea makes no sense at all and is basically meaningless. You try using that mushy stuff in your gourd next time. Instead, you just carve off the top, exposing a decadent cache of gorgeous seed-laden ambrosia. Needless to say, you consume all of it rather quickly, but it turns out to be too gross for us to watch. You move a spirograph switch. You cannot move it. It has a spirograph-shaped indentation, and possibly will require a special kind of key to turn it. You purify the firefly out of the ember. You release your friend. You will give her a name when something suitably whimsical occurs to you. You adjust the time dial to purify rotten pumpkin. You and Serenity consider new ways to waste more time with the purifier. You're assuming she is a girl firefly, even though you're not really sure that fireflies even can be girls. You target the extremely tasty rotten pumpkin that was sitting in the other room hours ago. It seems the purifier cannot purify something if it will create a time paradox. A gelatinous ghost pumpkin purifies and quickly dissolves into a pile of unappetizing sludge. You purify the grate over the entrance to the facility. Serenity blinks a message of urgency. You nearly forgot that while trapped in ambush she was witness to all your tomfoolery and dilly-dallying in the other room, and knows the timer is about to expire. It is time to get this show on the road and escape. You reset the coordinates with the right green button again, and this time only adjust the elevation by approximately 10 human measurement units. You hasten to the exit post-haste. Wait. You attempt the rare and highly dangerous 5 times cliffhanger combo and fail. We are doing it, man. We are making this happen. You ascend. End of Act 2. Neat. Hey, someone followed. Thanks for that. Let's see. Should I end it here and start Act 2 tomorrow, or should I continue? May as well just flip a coin. Let's see. Where do I keep coins? Okay. I'm gonna keep going for now. Dear John, you are no doubt reading this as a handsome and strapping young man. Why, the banquet needed to lift the book itself is a sign of your maturity. Not even to speak of the wisdom needed to grasp the nuance of Sassaker's time-tested mischief. I am so proud of you, grandson. I wish I could have delivered this heirloom to you in the flesh, but I am afraid that it wasn't in the cards. For you see, John, like you, this book must yet take a journey. Its journey will end on the final day of my life, and even then we'll continue some. I suppose that will be up to your father. Perhaps he will discuss it with you one day, when he and you are ready. But it is your journey I am writing about to wish you luck. There will come a day when you will be thrust into another world, and once you arrive, that is only the beginning. You will soon delve deeper into a realm of warring royalty in a timeless expanse. A realm of agents and exiles and consorts and colonel sprites, of toiling underlings and slumbering denizens. A realm will gather the air of breath and seer of light, the night of time and witch of space, and together they will ascend. John, if only you knew how important you were. I regret my passing came so early in your life, and yet I feel in my heart we have already met. But what I know for sure is that we will meet again. Until then, John, I do hope your father keeps you well fed. With love, Nana. P.S. Hoo hoo hoo. Act 3. A silly girl naps by her flowers. It's quite likely that she tired herself out with a variety of silly antics, as silly girls are often known to do. She may have a silly name too, or maybe not. It is hard to say for sure without asking her. But since she's slumbering peacefully, it would be a shame to wake her up. We might as well just give her a name right now. Farm Stink Butt Lass? I guess. I guess her name is Farm Stink. Wake up. You try to roust Farm Stink from her slumber, but she's really down for the count. It looks like she's holding some sort of note. Retrieve arms from... They're right there, in plain sight. Look, they're flashing red. Drop pumpkin on Farm Stink. What pumpkin? You see no pumpkin, and frankly it is hard to imagine there ever was a pumpkin, in plain sight or otherwise. Anyway, that would be a really terrible thing to do to poor, sweet Farm Stink. Read note. Farm Stink, that is incredibly silly and a little bit rude. My name is... Try again. Jade Harley. Examine the room. Your name is Jade, and you have just woken up from a restful nap, and as usual, you have no recollection of having fallen asleep. You have quite a number of interests, so many in fact you have trouble keeping track of them all, even with the assortment of colorful reminders on your fingers to help you sort out everything on your mind. Nevertheless, when you spend time in your garden atrium, the only thing on your mind is your deep passion for horticulture. What will you do? Play a silly flute refrain. Oh. Yeah, that checks out. Cool. Well, that's not a nice thing to say. Maybe you should try playing an instrument you actually know how to play instead, like the one in your bedroom. Honestly, you have no idea where this flute even came from. Things seem to appear and disappear around here all the time, especially to your unending chagrin. Any sort of large horn gourd that might be lying around, you consider throwing the flute down in disgust. You captchalogue the flute. On second thought, it was a perfectly nice flute, and there was no reason to take your frustration out on it. You just need some practice. But before you captchalogue the flute, you will need to select your fetch modus first. You set modus. Oh. Oh. Hmm. 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 You have a wide variety of fetch modi to choose from. You were really excited when your grandpa bought you this modus set for Christmas. He's a total badass, even if a little strict. You typically opt for the memory modus when it comes to matters of day-to-day practicality. You select memory. You set your modus to memory and captchalogue the flute. You allot 9 cards to the modus from your deck, since that will be more than enough for your needs at the moment. The modus grabs 9 more cards for matching purposes. The flute is split up on 2 blank cards and mixed randomly into the grid. To retrieve the item, you must first pick 1 card and then pick its matching card. For the typical Silodexer, this modus presents a frustrating guessing game and a lot of wasted time on mismatching, but you like it because you seem to have a knack for always guessing right on the first try. Squeal like a piglet and fertilize some plants. It is an awfully silly idea and is basically a waste of everyone's time. You'll predictably disregard this thought and focus on more sensible objectives at once. Oh my god, this is so much fun. You captchalogue the bag of fertilizer. You consult the colorful reminders. You tend to have a lot of things on your mind at once, and you can be a little forgetful. So you keep a variety of colored strings on your fingernails as reminders. Each one means there is a different day. There is something different to remember at a certain time. In fact, looking at your index finger reminds you that there is something important to remember now. It is your friend's John's birthday. The green string reminds you that John's birthday package will arrive today. The blue string also reminds you that John's birthday package will arrive today, though in a way that means something slightly different. You're further reminded that you have some things to do outside your house soon, but you should stop by your room first for some supplies, and most importantly to see if John is online and wish him a happy birthday. Captchalogue the pumpkin growing next to you. You snap up that pumpkin, which seems suitably ripe for the taking. Hopefully the safety of your Silodex will prevent it from being spirited away like so many of its ephemeral predecessors. You exit this room. You make your way to the middle of the garden atrium, where a stairwell joins the 4 atrium wings. Upstairs is your grandfather's laboratory as well as your bedroom. You captchalogue something. Your memory modus is hardly any fun without much stuff in it, so you decide to stock up on fresh produce to fill some more cards. You pick a juicy red crab apple. You go pick a nice looking key lime. And a delicious mandarin orange. Those are your favorite. And finally, a ripe yellow Eureka lemon. Modus fun aside, you feel it is impossible to have too many fresh fruits and vegetables on your hand. You go upstairs to your bedroom. You almost never use the stairs. You transportalize upstairs. Just above is your room. You ascend. You enter your bedroom. On this side of the room, you are immediately confronted with numerous artifacts highlighting your various interests. You're an avid follower of cartoon shows of considerable nostalgic appeal. You have a profound zeal for marvelous and fantastical fauna, of an anthropomorphological persuasion. You have an uncanny knack for nuclear physics, and not infrequently can be found dabbling in rather advanced gadgetry. You enjoy erratic fits of narcolepsy. Your love of gardening transcends the glass confines of your atrium, and you are at times prone to patterns of precognitive prognostication. You consider very briefly the question, what will you do? But you quickly realize this is only one half of your room, and therefore host to only half of your interests to choose from. You explore the other half of your room. Over here I get more articles of your aforementioned interests and then some. Additional telltale signs of your enthusiasm for nostalgic television mingle with your assortment of game-hunting firearms. You are a skilled markswoman, though your crosshairs would never settle on an innocent creature, anthropomorphically persuaded or otherwise. Your work table is littered with equipment to facilitate your tinkering. For you, experimentation is not a particularly exact science, and you lean heavily on sharp intuition for consistently and eerily optimal results. Nevertheless, you have still not been able to get that broad, flat gizmo there to work, which is a design you have borrowed from one of your grandpa's more mysterious inventions. You're a great admirer of his, And you're not alone. Your grandfather is a world-renowned explorer, naturalist, treasure hunter, archaeologist, scientist, adventurer, big game hunter, billionaire extraordinaire. He has taught you everything you know. But in spite of all his lessons, it is still difficult to escape his stern lectures when you are on the way out of the house to run your errands. He spends most of his time in the grand foyer, stewing in his own intensity and charisma. And today will likely be no exception. Among the errands you have planned is to venture out to find your pet and best friend named Becquerel. This animal must be fed, and he will not be happy if he is not. And if he is not happy, then you will not be happy. But first, you should really dig out your computer and say hi to John. Now, what will you do? Quickly retrieve firearms from wall, my bad. You equip your trusty hunting rifle. There would be hell to pay if Granddad caught you leaving the house without it. You wonder why the design on your shirt changed. There isn't much to wonder, really. You left your wardrobe afire on its randomization setting. You may contemplate which shirt design you favor the most and commit to setting in the near future. You capture log the nearest Squiddles doll and hug it. Just before you can grab one, the powerful electromagnets concealed in their underbellies become activated, and the two of them get all tangled up with each other playfully. You capture log the Tangle Buddies. You lose interest in fauna and never speak of it again. Oh, but you can never do that. What marvelous creatures they are, what a daring dream, to combine the finest qualities of humanity with the elegance and nobility of the animal kingdom. How you wish you could know their world to hear one night of those muted paw pads traipse up your stairs, a low but friendly growl unsettles your slumber, and as the soap seeps from your eyes they detect a sharp pair of ears cutting moonlight. A mysterious woven tongue invites. Wouldn't those ears suit you? Would not this proud long snout assist you in the hunt? No need to answer. Words slough from the busy mind like a useless dead membrane as a more visceral sapience takes over. Something simpler is in charge now, a force untouched by that concerns and burdens of the upright, that farcical yoke, the bipedal toe. It now drives you through the midnight brush, your paws whisking through creepers, unearthing with each bold stomp bright odors, demanding investigation, but not for long, as you and your new friend must claim the night with piercing howls moonward. You eat a weird bug and don't even care. Pick up your toys. Speaking of which, you pick up and admire one of your Manthra chaps. They are wonderful friends and are always cheerful and pleasant fellows. Why, dear Mr. Coxcomb, however will you be received at the Barnyard Gala without the trappings of a proper gentleman? Each Manthra chap comes with a number of accessories, including articles of formal attire, a vaccination kit, and a dishwasher-safe slop trough. Organize all your dolls. You gather all your dolls into a rather cozy-looking pile. You change the wardrobe a fire setting. You deactivate its randomization mode and set it to cycle through these 3 shirt designs. The decision was tough, but you think you came to the best possible conclusion. Neat. You look out the window. It's another beautiful day in your neighborhood. It is peaceful and quiet as usual. A rather imposing volcano looms over your house, which has been inactive for centuries. Though dormant on the surface, the volcanic activity deep underground provides your house with a source of geothermal power. You're not sure why your grandfather decided to draw from this source of energy when he had the unlimited power of the atom at his disposal, but it has been this way for as long as you can remember. You've chalked it up to your family's long-standing propensity for eclectic fursuits. Wait, you mean pursuits? Retrieve fursuit from magic chest. What is this nonsense about fursuits? You do not own a fursuit. You think anthropomorphic fauna are really cute and enchanting and all, but it hasn't ever occurred to you to dress as one. Sure, it is fun to imagine what it would be like to run wild with a pack of wolves, or purr and frolic with a litter of kittens, but dressing up as an animal just seems ridiculous. It would still just be a silly girl draped in raggedy synthetic tough pieces of craft. And seriously, who are you trying to kid with that sort of baloney? Anyway, it is a magic chest. It is not a magic chest. It is your gadget chest, which you have adapted for storing a number of useful gizmos. It was once your oracle's trunk, a gift from your grandfather, of course, and still contains many silly fortune-telling knickknacks, all of which are completely bogus. You open the chest. Among the fortune-telling knickknacks are these items: a crystal ball plus compulsory velvet pillow, a tarot deck, a magic 8-ball, a magic cue ball, and one of your favorite books of all time, Problem Sooth. Among the useful gizmos are, of course, your computer, which you keep inside a fun lunchbox for easy transport, and a couple of gizmos you keep handy so you don't always have to make the long trip to the kitchen. There is a cookalizer for preparing delicious meals, and a refrigerator, a name which clearly is a wacky variation of the much more common household item, the refrigerificator. Jade examines the magic 8-ball and magic cue ball. These things are stupid and worthless. When the magic 8-ball isn't being frustratingly ambiguous, its forecast is always wrong. You've tested it numerous times with certain facts you know to be true. This is its reply when you ask it if it is your friend's birthday today. See, stupid. Yes, maybe it could be used as a reverse prediction device and always trust the opposite of what it says, but that seems dumb to you, and anyway, the thing gives you a bad vibe. You might consider smashing it, but you are a little superstitious about whatever ominous consequences that might have, even if the occult talisman in question is a cheap piece of garbage. The magic cue ball, on the other hand, is said to make predictions with alarming precision and specificity. Unfortunately, it lacks a portal on its surface that allows you to view the prediction. You put both of these pieces of junk back in the box and captcha-log the refrigerator. You take the refrigerator. You might as well grab the cookalizer too. No portable kitchen is complete without it. You take your lunch top too, because obviously you're going to be using that pretty soon. Whoops, there goes your flute, but who cares? You feed your friend. Before you go to feed Beck, you will need to prepare a meal for him. You clear some space on your work table so you can set up your refrigerator and cookalizer. Just for fun, Jade allows you to take a stab at matching the cards to use the gizmos. It doesn't present much of a challenge for her, so she figures that she might as well step aside while providing a few generous hints. No, no. Warmer, warmer. Cooler, cooler. Cold. Warmer. Yes, no. Cold. Ice cold. Warmer, warmer. You've selected the key line. Wait to go. Try again. Hot. Wait. No, cold. Really cold. Frozen fucking tundra. Take another crack at this. Congratulations. You advance your matching skill to a new level. Yukon Hero. Legendary Legacy of the Frostbite Amputee. Jade is beginning to regret breaking the fourth wall for this ill-advised escapade. Okay, one more time. If it were known in advance how terrible you were going to be at this matching game, the author may have given a second thought to preparing this cool interactive Flash application. Look at all these fruits on the loose. Good luck trying to settle them down. You just deploy the gadgets yourself. Jade sticks the fruits in the refrigerator to keep them fresh. These fruits are unlikely to become less impudent anytime soon, regardless of where they are stored, but you stick them in anyway. You take a look at the refrigerator's rotary interface. You wonder what he's in the mood for today. You press the steak button. Okay, well, it's a rotary dial, so there are no buttons to press. But whatever, that doesn't really matter. You dial up a 6 T-bone steak, which you are assured Beckwell is in the mood for because he is in the mood for steak every day and he is never in the mood for anything else. But he does like his steak well cooked. Lightly irradiate the steak. He does prefer his steak rare after all. But you will not dignify the thought of turning the knob much further because you're not... You capture log the irradiated steak and save it for your trip outside. You probably shouldn't waste much more time. You wouldn't want all those nice depleted steak isotopes to settle down. Examine the atomic base by your bed. You wouldn't exactly call it an atomic base, but it is heavily customized to accommodate a high level of musical virtuosity, and is the perfect instrument for the eclectically spirited. You've tuned the strings way down, of course, because your lumpy arms can't reach the low notes. You switch your eclectic bass to its advanced setting, but you promptly switch it back, since obviously it's too complicated to play it in person like this. The default setting is your preferred mode for casual jamming. And since you can't possibly waste enough time playing music, casually jam is exactly what you're going to do. Jade plays a hauntingly relaxing bass line. Jade capture logs the bass. She takes the portable amp from the wall socket too. And she opens the lunch top. She likes to make herself comfy in her plushy pile before getting down to business with her computer. She gets down to business. She activates Pester Chum. Hey look, John is online. Hooray! Also, it looks like Dave pestered you about something yesterday, but you missed it. Jade pesters John. You greet John, but he does not respond. He's undoubtedly gallivanting around his house in a state of barely restrained birthday mirth. He mails to be retrieving the 2 packages and the 2 envelopes which you're certain came in the mail for him earlier. You'll wait a little before you see if he returns, before you head out. You see if Dave left you a sweet new wrap. It doesn't appear so, but you just never know with that crazy cool guy. So cool. Hey, oh, you're asleep again, aren't you? Or, oops, I dropped something. Or do you even know if you are? I still don't know how that works. It's not like nothing means anything. It's so cool getting hella chumped by your kiddish damn riddles all the time. I don't know why I believe anything you say like I'm the Grand Marshal of gross chumpage, waving around my chump ductor baton. Assistant Director of Chumpography. Celebrated author Ernest Chumpingway. Wait, weak. Chumpelstiltskin? Chumple dipshit? Yeah. You're asleep? Yes, no. ASL, S equals species. Baboon, kangaroo rat. If kangaroo rat yip twice, please. Okay, well, you're not saying anything, so I guess whether you're non-awake or unasleep or whatever, you're just not around. I'm wasting good material. Even worse, I'm wasting the killer persona here. Like, I don't know, like a wide open V-shaped leotard and a fuck ton of body paint. Some like sinewy back arching Cirque du Soleil looking motherfucker. Always low to the ground, getting a good prowl on, like I dropped my keys in the dark. Nimblest son of a bitch, whoever had the gumption to glue a nasty pair of latex cat lips to his face. For a reason that wasn't a joke. Jade, hey, where are you? Seriously, I'm sitting here tonight with a fucking bag of kibble jacked open on my lap and primed for goddamn bear, and you're gone. BTAW, my name is Aqui Musk, hardest buttock in the jungle, tempered steel. But yeah, I just wanted to give you this remix I finished here. So yeah, you don't have to respond to any of that, BG-Dub. I'll probably forget half the shit I said anyway. Talk to you tomorrow. Jade opens fresh jams. And adds Dave's remix to the playlist. Jade opens Echidna and goes to mspaintadventures.com. You open your web browser and visit MS Paint Adventures. You navigate to a random page in the middle of the latest epic. Looks like he was finishing up some sort of tangential intermission here. Whatever it was, it clearly advanced the plot in no relevant way whatsoever. End intermission. Midnight Crew, Act 1031. You've killed a little time, but still no sign of John. Jade pesters Dave. Hi, Dave. Hey, sup? Not much. Sup with you? Bro, hehehe. Haha, good one. It's alright being chill, I guess. Great, feeling cool today, Mr. Cool Guy? Oh, man, you know it. Do. Dave Strife. Jade pesters Rose. I require a font of frighteningly accurate, yet infuriatingly non-specific information. Do you know where I can find a wellspring of that sort? Haha. Yes, okay, but we can't talk for long. You have plans? Well, yes, I do, but it's just that you will lose interest of... Well, yes, I do, but it's just that you will lose internet connection soon, and we won't talk again for a pretty long time. Not until you enter. Enter? Yeah. This is what I was talking about. This was the itch I needed scratching. My avarice for the inscrutable, it is limitless. Well, what did you want to know? You've been insisting today was the big day. We would all play a game you didn't know the name of. A game you said I'd get in the mail, and did. One that would help me answer some questions. But Strider is being obtuse. I can't catch John at his computer. You don't even have the game yourself, and on top of all that, my internet is unstable. So are you sure today is the day? There sure are a lot of challenges, but yes, I'm sure. Dave is cool. You'll know... You know he'll come around when the time is right. He just has a lot of work to do first, and so do you. You'll need to keep searching for a stable signal and power source. It'll be hard, but don't give up. And don't worry about me either. Focus on playing with John first. It all starts with you two. Is there nothing else you can say to prepare me for this? I'm sure you think little of Lightly upsetting dark forces with Grandpa Moreau over there on Hellmurder Island, but honestly, I've only read a few books on it. Haha, dark? That's ridiculous. I don't really know what to tell you other than it's not going to be what you think it is. And most importantly, you will have your questions answered, but they will be the ones you haven't thought to ask yet. Just be patient and be brave. You'll see. It will be a lot of fun. Uh-oh, looks like you've got to go. Take care, Rose. Jade, be the other girl. You are now the other girl several hours in the future. It appears a secret passage in the mausoleum has been opened. It's getting awfully toasty in here. You gather up your belongings, including your dead cat. Rose descends. Jade, stop being the other girl and pester John again. You spent enough time for now concerning yourself with the future of your friends. John will not be available until later. By then, he will have his hands full, as will you. You pack up your lunch top and get ready to take care of some business downstairs. Jade descends. Try as you might, you can't stop your mind from drifting to the fate of your friends. You dwell on a particular configuration of reminders on your finger. Well... Also in the future, but years, not hours, under bare white branches, a century awakens. Oh dear. Some stuff about captcha codes and punch card alchemy. Is anyone actually reading any of this, or are they all dead? I don't know if anyone besides us is even alive and playing the game, or if anybody really cares what we have to say. Rose said I should add some stuff to this frequently asked questions, if anything occurred to me, so I guess I'm doing that. I figure at the very least it'll be a good reference for just us to use. But Dave probably won't read any of this because he's sort of a whooping stupid horse, but whatever. I finally figured out what those weird codes on the back of captcha log cards are for. Well, maybe not what they're always for, but a way that Spurv has exploited them for an in-game purpose. Every captured item stamps the card with a unique code. Gizmo and Spurv, called the Punch Designics, will punch a unique pattern of holes in a card which is derived from that code. The punched card can then be used with other gizmos to duplicate the item and or combine it with another item. I got to thinking about this, and with my amazing hackers skills, I noticed a trend. The whole pattern is based on a fairly simple cipher converting the captcha code into a binary, and then binary pattern is punched, where 1 is a punched hole and 0 is an unpunched slot. So here's the table just to be clear. 0, 0, 1 is 1, 2 is 2, 3 is 3, 4 is 4, 5 is 5, 6 is 6, 7 is 7, 8 is 8, 9 is 9. A is 10, B is 11, C is 12, and so on and so forth. There are a couple oddball characters that exclamation point and question mark at the end bring it up to 63. 0 through 63 equals 64 total, i.e. 6 bits, because the binary representations of the captcha code characters are 6 bits each, which have a range of 0 to 63. So for instance, the captcha code for the hammer is, look up the index for n first, which is 49. The binary of 49 is 110001. Keep doing that for all the characters and you get... Okay, that's the pattern that will be punched in the card, but the bits are arranged top to bottom, left to right in 4 columns like this, or punched on a card like this. Okay, that pretty much looks like shit, but you get the idea. So to combine 2 items, you just have to overlap 2 punched cards. Only the places where both cards have a hole will show through, so it's sort of like a bitwise and operation on both cards. The new pattern gives you a code for the new item. For instance, combining the code for a hammer and a pogo ride gives a new code with less holes, obviously, which translates to that whole pattern lands on to make a pogo hammer, which is so rad you have no idea. I've also wondered if you can combine other items in other ways, like a bitwise or... That means combining the holes to... combining the cards to get even more holes, not less, i.e. the new pattern has a hole punched for every hole on either card. This pattern would be accomplished by double punching a card, like 2 codes, 1 card. I've got to try that sometime. But there are mysterious things about all this. First of all, with all the hole slots, there are 48 bits in total, which means that there are almost 300 trillion possible codes, and 300 trillion sounds huge, but when you consider it's supposed to account for all conceivable items, including all the wacky combinations of stuff, it suddenly doesn't seem that big. This leads me to believe that not every combination of items has a viable duplicate. But this is kind of obvious anyway, since there are many combinations of punch cards that will produce either a blank card with and or a totally punched card with or, so there are lots of HUD combinations out there, and maybe that will just lead to the same pattern, like for instance a gun and an atom bomb could make some sort of ultimate death ray, but for that matter a shoehorn and a potted plant could lead to the exact same pattern. So weird. Also, it seems like combined items will always have patterns with either much fewer holes or much more holes than the ordinary items, which will occupy the vast middle of all possible patterns. It is strange and counterintuitive that more complex objects have simpler patterns, but hey, there you have it. But all this sort of makes me guess that the system can be cracked in some way, like if you have a complicated item and you want to extract simpler item components from it, there might be some algorithm for deriving the pattern you want, or at least narrowing down the possibilities. There might also be ways of charting through the simpler patterns on both ends of the bit spectrum, and pinning down the ones that will make cooler stuff. Who knows? I want to ask Jade about this because she's really good at this sort of thing somehow, even though she doesn't have my lead hacks or cred. Too bad she makes herself so scarce all the time. Jade, if you ever read this, let me know what you think. Oof. You enter the laboratory. Look for mad scientists. There are no scientists to be found, mad or otherwise. Or anyone for that matter. The lab appears to be deserted. There is a kiosk, though. It looks like the kiosk monitors the lab's enormous hub grid. Transport lies as far down as you can go. This is as far down as you can go. The grand foyer is still a few floors down, but the transportalizer on that level is blocked by one of Grandpa's impressive big game trophies. And you just don't think he would cotton to someone moving it. Speaking of which, there are some of his trophies now. He has a million of these ghastly things. You really dislike them. Proceed. You hop down a level. Granddad also likes to accumulate valiant knights from his travels. These are pretty cool, yes? Keep going. Yeah, how could you forget about a stash of decrepit mummies? God, you hate these things. Don't stop. This is your grandfather's collection of what he refers to as his beauties. No lovely lady would be fit for his collection unless her portrait had spent at least 20 years bleaching in the front window of a beauty parlor, a sort of establishment he's plundered no less frequently than ancient tomes. You guess they were sort of like your sisters while growing up, and you were always encouraged to look up to them. They were all awfully pretty ladies, you suppose, but it was always hard to get as excited about them as Grandpa. Jade, study hard and keep your rifle at the ready. When adventure summons, I know you will rise to the task and take your rightful place among the daughters of Eclectica. That old coot sure is a bag of wind. Complete your descent. You reach the ground level. This is the stupid thing blocking the transportalizer. It is unspeakably hideous. Down the southeast hall is the grand foyer. You'll have to cross through it to leave the house. Looks like someone's pestering you. Even though you thought you logged off? Answer? Hi again, idiot. Oh no. So I guess today is finally the day you fuck everything up. Huh? Is there nothing I can do to change your mind? You can leave me alone. How can you even be talking to me after I blocked you? And after I logged out? You don't get that I am better and smarter than you in every way forever. You don't get that because you are incredibly stupid. I get that you're a jerk and you should shut up. Goodbye, you jerk. Looks like a mapping of each hub's index. It appears one of the hubs was recently unlocked. Go to the center and do a goofy dance. At the center, you find a little stage that looks perfect for supporting a spectacularly silly dance. Or it would if standing on it didn't make you a little nervous, and also if that didn't sound like a bad idea given the circumstances. It looks like sort of like the various contraptions you've been deploying in John's house. You wonder what it does. You attempt to plug the laptop into a nearby hub. Great, you just vaporized your dead cat. Oh well, ashes to ashes, yes. There's got to be a better way to deal with this lousy tree. Looks like you can choose between picking leaves or awkwardly uprooting the whole tree. as you've been doing. You select leaf, you also turn off auto bounce, since its consequences can also be a little mystifying sometimes. You gather up all your items again in an order that places your laptop in a conveniently accessible leaf. You're not sure why you didn't do this a lot sooner. Kind of funny looking tree now, but your concern for structural elegance is at an all-time low. You find the unlocked hub. As long as you're going to plug in your computer, you might as well find that hub. Here it is, hub SN Lab 0413. It is unlocked and thus removable from the grid. You suspect this was the same beacon transmitting the unsecured signal you were using earlier. You pick up the laptop leaf from the tree. You plug your laptop into the hub, then capture log the hub and then the laptop. There must be a better place around here to set up your computer. This huge grid of electronics is sort of uninviting. You look around. Hey, what's that? It's another one of those ominous countdowns. You didn't notice it when you first read the lab about a minute ago. It looks like this one may have been ticking for years. Whatever it's counting down to, there isn't much time. You can only hope that when you turn on your computer again, there'll be a connection invitation from one Mr. Strider. Again in the future. Another timer winds down, sideways. Neat. Dave absconds. The sound isn't working on this page. Oh. It keeps happening. What does? You don't have time to humor every random thought that pops into your head. The clock is ticking. Rose looks around for anything else of importance. This looks like something of importance. It appears to be Skynet's primary session terminal, monitoring a great number of spurred sessions in northeastern United States and parts of Canada. Upon further investigation, you draw some logical conclusions. It looks like each session consists of an IP address and a physical location. The colored dots on the map appear to be meteor impact sites, which it seems each session corresponds with a meteor, but not all meteors have sessions. The color of the dot appears to indicate the status of the meteor's descent. The red dots indicate meteors that have already landed. Yellow dots are imminent collisions, green will impact later, and blue will take the longest to touch down. You use the panel to center on your present location and zoom in. Surrounding the lab are, of course, the hundreds of smaller meteors that have been raining down steadily throughout the evening. Most of these meteorites will have either landed already or will land shortly. Centered over the lab is a significantly larger imminent collision. You can't say precisely how imminent, but you could certainly take an educated stab at it. Just southwest of the lab centered suspiciously near the location of your house is an even larger looming collision, though this one appears slightly less imminent. The terminal looks like it can monitor any meteor or session around the world. Search filters can be applied as well, restricting results based on size, time of impact, location, and so on. You zoom out and narrow the search based on size. The two at the top of the list appear to be the biggest by far. You examine only their coordinates. The second biggest is centered over U.S. City. The biggest is by a landslide is, luckily, for the Earth you suppose, way out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Turn on your laptop and check on John. You plug your laptop into the hub again and turn it on. It is now powered and connected to the wireless signal the hub is broadcasting. Your Spurb session reconnects. No signs of John here. You wonder why the house is shaking. Last time you saw him, he was on one of the roof platforms. You'll have to navigate via the sub interface to find him. John high-fives the Nanaquin. Left hanging long enough. Good work, John. Oh, hey, you're back. For now, I'll have to leave again shortly. It looks like there's another large meteor headed for my present location. Oh, so you mean Dave connected with you? Not yet. I'll explain later. But I think I've determined that activating the timer in the game is not directly responsible for summoning a meteor to your location. The countdown seems merely to exist as a kind of warning to the player, as well as a strange coincidence. Okay. I don't really think I get it. Is this relevant? Probably not at the moment, and certainly not to you. I have to go. Okay, later. P.S. Try not to waste too much of that grist while I'm gone. John climbs that ladder. He rockets up the ladder to the dizzying heights of the vaunted Boy Skylark run. His new feather is hard-earned and well-deserved, and alarmingly fashionable. Collect fat loots. Him and his ceramic portcullis rejoice in the amount of wealth yielded from his meteoric ascent up the ladder. He's still not sure what all these boon dollars can actually get him, but when pulling in such insane loot, hand over fist like this, who cares? Not you. John picks up as much grist as he can hold. His expanded cash limit is more than enough to accommodate the grist windfall. He gathers up 2260 pieces of build grist, 1040 pieces of shale, 490 drops of tar, and 350 drops of mercury. He can't wait to find out what amazing items this new supply of grist will be just barely insufficient to produce. Ugh. Oh god, there's grist littered down there too. Those stupid ogres were like huge grist pinatas. One of those big sour grape electric fruit gushers is jammed in the hole in the platform. I guess there's only one way to get it. John, don't forget your book. It is your birthright. You ought to give it a read when you have a moment, particularly the first several pages. Okay, Nana, I will. Hey, Nana? Yes, dear? Since I'm trying to get up to that gate, and since you can sort of conjure floating beds and throw me around and all, couldn't you just throw me up to the gate? Yes, of course, John, but that would not serve your purpose very well. There's a very good reason why you should build up to it, and then keep building. Oh, okay. I guess that's what I figured. So just one more thing. Do you think that instead of telling me exactly why that is with a clear explanation, you can give me a series of really coy riddles about it and then sort of get it a goal? John, you are a fresh young man. Your father has done such a wonderful job of raising you. I am so proud of you both. Haha, I guess. When you pass through the first gate, everything will change. You'll find the place where the constellations dance beneath the clouds, and then your true work may begin. Hoo hoo hoo! I suddenly understand everything. Elsewhere, we find a place where a kingdom lies entrenched beyond an impenetrable veil of darkness. Graveyard Stuffers. You are now the Peregrine Mendicant. You are flying westward in your peculiar mobile station. You have no sense of your bearings presently. The door is blocked by a metal column which extended thoroughly through the shaft before liftoff. What will you do? Check mail. This message to Dr. Brenner looks pretty serious. Open envelope. Never. The mail is sacred, and sacred is the trust between the postman and the recipients of his precious parcels. You've made a solemn pledge to deliver this letter to the doctor just as soon as you determine where the address is, or find any sort of discernible mailing address in this wasteland, for that matter. The mail is freedom. The mail is life. The mail is the very fabric of civilization. Wait, hold that thought for a moment. The mail is the one final hope for resurrecting a dead planet from its ashes, and the letter carriers are the brave soldiers of God in this righteous crusade. They are the defenders of the light of knowledge, free communication, and the exchange of ideas. They are bold toters of all those extremely papery conduits of freedom, the white postmarked angels that whisper a message on their deliverance, a promise to the yearning. There is hope yet. Liberty, reason, justice, civility, edification, perfection, mail. Examine keyboard and screen. It's the terminal you used to activate the station's homing mechanism. It looks like it has now returned control to you. The default viewport displays commands previously entered, including your last and only command, home. Type view. You type another one of the previously entered commands. It switches to the view of a young girl standing alone somewhere. There's a heavy sort of video interference of some sort. The girl seems familiar to you. Greetings. Don't I know you? Neat. Rose refuses to acknowledge the absurd tea set. She successfully disregards the tea set because it's stupid and it shouldn't be in a place like this. She probes further into the lab. This looks like a girl's room. This all strikes you as a bit odd. No time for messing around in here, though. Rose, wear the scarf, be the rider. Okay, maybe you'll do a little messing around. You are, you are only human after. Oh, what's that? You are accosted by a friendly mutant kitten. Resist the urge to take the wedged shale. You know you should grab this thing, but you're suddenly feeling apprehensive about entering your father's room. With all the scampering around, it almost slipped your mind how much you hate his hideous clowns. No use putting it off any longer. There's only one thing left to do. Give me a D, give me an E, give me an S, give me a C. John jumps down. Jade scampers into the grand foyer with wild abandon. She scampers her heart out and bumps into something. She doesn't know why he always insists on keeping it so dark in here. Oh look, it was one of his dumb globes. These things make it awfully difficult to navigate the foyer. We get it, Granddad. You like to travel the world going on adventures and stuff. Lousy goddamn stupid globes. Jade, arm yourself. Grandpa will certainly have stern words for you if he catches you without your trusty rifle at the ready. That's just what you need, another one of his blustering mustachio diatribes. You're rolling your eyes in advance, getting them warmed up, but ideally you can evade him altogether. All you have to do is get past the fireplace and out the front door and you'll be scot-free. Examine those chaps on the sofa. Those are the Manor's 4 distinguished house guests. They like to gather here by the fireplace for tea time, as well as pretty much all other times. It's all very mannerly and civilized. You know exactly what's going to happen when you try to sneak by. The fireplace is going to light up, and your grandpa's silhouette is going to appear in front of the fire to give you a good spook. He is so predictable. And there he goes. This old man has the flame. You suppose you could still manage to sneak by the crafty old man if you're fast enough. Avoiding an encounter would be ideal. Encounters with him are usually intense. Leap dramatically across the divide. Whoops! You guess an encounter with him is almost certain now. But most likely not for a while. Time to see what someone else is up to. Oh, let's say Dave. Strife! Yes, I am going out with this gun. No, I will not go get a bigger one. No, I will not take yours. I can't even lift it. Oh, that is so preposterous. Do you even hear what you're saying? I will be fine. This is a perfectly deadly gun. It shoots lots of incredibly deadly bullets. Oh, will you just stop it? I am going now. Goodbye. Abscond. He was so much easier to deal with when he was alive. Miraculously survive. Peer out explosion hole. Refuse to acknowledge the absurd kitten. She fails miserably. Oh look, there's some more mad science crap over there. Rose inserts a coin. This weird arcade gizmo adapted to this setup obviously doesn't take coins anymore, assuming it ever did. Besides, you left all your coins on that fridge, remember? I don't remember, it was a while ago. Rose, let's play a game. This doesn't appear to be a game. It appears to be an purifier. Rose screws around with the purifier. She messes with the controls. Hey, Jaspers is alive. Or at least he was in the past, according to the timestamp. This was almost 9 years ago. She tries to move the crosshairs with a joystick, but it seems to be permanently locked on a specific target. You might be able to unlock it, but you don't have time to horse around with this thing. You zoom out. It looks like you and Jaspers are having one of your sessions. You weren't making a lot of progress, though, because Jaspers has no doubt being characteristically recalcitrant. You possibly jotted this phrase down in your pad. It's hard to remember, though. Wait. Could this be that day? Rose attempts to cause a time paradox. She attempts to purify Jaspers. This would surely cause a time paradox, because you can plainly see that he has not told you his secret yet. But it seems the machine has safety mechanisms to prevent such irresponsible purification practices. The paradox ghost imprint of Jaspers purifies instead, and quickly settles into a mound of sludge. The machine beside it sucks up the paradox sludge and begins some kind of automated procedure. It seems whatever sort of primordial biochemical properties the sludge possesses is being evaluated by the device. The device generates a fetal paradox clone of Jaspers. The wretched creature exhibits a number of unfortunate mutations, though. The good news is that it will be mercifully unestablished along with his facilities shortly. This is also the bad news. Whoever was operating this machine in the past may have been making unsuccessful attempts to perfect the science of ectobiology. Rose has a flashback. There's no need for a flashback, conveniently. She can watch that right here on the monitor. She just rolls the clock forward a few seconds, and Jasper reveals his stunning secret to her in strict confidence. Before she can ask him to clarify, he vanished into thin air. She now believes that she understands why. However, she was not the one to purify him from this moment. Her hand is nowhere near the controls just now. A couple weeks after he vanished, his body washed up along the riverbank. His suit was a mess. Her mother fitted him with a new one just before his absurd funeral service she insisted upon. Rose chases Jasper's whereabouts on the machine. She rolls the clock forward to a week after he vanished. It seems there's no accessible feed tracing his whereabouts during that time frame. She fasts forward another week. There he is, just as she found him. She fast forwards to now. It's Jaspers. He's alive. Well, okay, he's still dead, but his body is intact. Turns out it wasn't some kind of disintegrator like you thought. It's more like an escapalizer. Rosa purifies Jaspers immediately. Good thing you finally have all this sorted out, and you only have 10 seconds to spare. Time to stash the dead cat in Amsgray. She stops fooling around and transportalizes out of there. Jade locates and feeds the devil beast she calls a pet. Good luck finding him. If he wants to be found, he'll find you. Beckerel has always managed to elude your prognosticative faculties. He's completely invisible to your intuition somehow, a property almost totally unique to him. It used to freak you out a little, but you've long since grown accustomed to it. Huh? Oh, it was nothing. Nothing at all. Moving right along. Jade retrieves the package she expected to arrive. The birthday package she was expecting from John arrived months late, and yet right on time. It landed over there past the crumbling monument, a satellite to the great mystic ruins at the center of the crater lagoon. John triple somersaults into a room, etc. Stick the landing. Okay, he does that. He's now in his dad's room. Where are all the clowns? He spots his dad's briefcase beside him. It possibly contains all sorts of clues, or at least various forms of paperwork critical to his trade as a hilarious street performer. John snoops. Ah yeah, here come the secrets. Get ready for some major reveals. Wait a minute. These are just boring business documents and spreadsheets. What the hell's going on here? John examines his dad's room. Calm down, John. It'll be alright. So all those years, while you believed he was out busking up the corners with hilarious antics, he was working as an ordinary businessman all along? He was just a man trying to make a good, honest living for his son? Maybe he was too embarrassed to tell you the truth, or maybe it was just that you'd never bothered to ask. You guess you always just assumed. The human prisoner has broken out of his jail cell yet again. Attempts to block the door with heavy objects have proven futile. You're going to need a bigger safe. Who's this guy? Spade Slick. Got a nice ring to it, but you know your own name. And that damn well ain't your name. Take another slab at it. State name and rank. Okay. State name and rank. You are Archagent Jack Noir. You oversee various affairs of the Dark Kingdom. Presently, you are determining how to deal with this prisoner, who's been a thorn in your side since he was apprehended. You view the affairs of the kingdom through a series of fenestrated walls. You have 3 walls, nearly enough to form a cubicle of vigilance, which is a full and proper enclosure for an agent of your stature. However, much to your contempt, your 4th wall was stolen some time ago. Jack dons a comical hat. This frivolous headdress turns his stomach. He'd sooner stick his head into a furnace than coax it into this monstrosity's loathsome, colorful maw. It's bad enough that his exalted ruler ordered everyone drape themselves in these hideous rags the moment the troublesome human with the pipe and his child showed up. But he draws a line at the hat. Jack calls a minion. He orders one of his burliest agents to the scene. He brings something heavier this time. The transmission is interrupted. It seems your glorious monarch has concerns over your wardrobe. Whoops. Wrong button. Fine. You begrudgingly don the comical hat. Stupid, lousy, wise and just leader. What a royal pain in the ass. Jack throws down hat in disgust. He fully intends to do so once his superior stops breathing down his neck for a second. Wait. What now? His blood is boiling so hot he could cook an egg on his carapace. Looks like he'll have to go handle this himself. John investigates the room for anything his dad might have left behind. It seems there are some unopened birthday presents, which his dad didn't get around to giving him yet. Present time. Open a present, see what's inside. The one on the right seems promising. He opens... Oh, nice. He opens to see what's inside and oh god, yes. Obtain sweet loot. He tears into this thing and puts a mean peep on the sweet loot. In addition to the Modus control deck, he got a bonus fetch Ray Modus, plus another 12 cards, which are practically worthless by this point, but hey, he'll take them. First thing to do is flush the extra cards into his deck. Okay, really, this is just way too many cards. He equips the Array Fetch Modus. Cool. The Array Modus allows him to store and retrieve any item from any card at any time. It seems exceptionally serviceable, though difficult to weaponize. Boring. He reads the instructions for the control desk. There's nothing to read, really. You just pop your Modus cartridges into the slot, fire it up, and see what happens. You start by putting the stack and queue modi into the slots. Your Silodex now behaves like both a stack and a queue. Items can be removed from either the top or the bottom card. You see no reason at all not to jam the array cartridge in there too. You make sure to blow the dust off it first, of course. The Silodex reconfigures itself into an array of distinct queue stacks. Now we're talking. This is just the sort of needless complexity you've come to expect from your inventory management system. John unwraps the smallest present first. He has a staunch policy of always saving the biggest present for last. Always. He receives a box of delicious fruit crushers. Could this birthday get anything better? He doesn't think so. He thought wrong. John fills up an entire queue stack with shoes. John capture logs the fruit gushers. He spaced out and put it in the wrong queue stack. He'll get the hang of this thing. He closely inspects the fruit gushers box. So delicious, he can't wait to capture log one of these packs and make like 1,000,000 gushers. Screw all the building nonsense, he'd rather make candy. Wait a minute. It can't be. The Hainless Spatter, Witch and her gnarled claws and everything. What do gushers have to do with baked goods anyways? How does this make sense? Why? John has a mental breakdown. Jade retrieves the package. Strife. Rain. Bang. AR. Arsenalize. Artillery. Armamentify. Arf. Go fetch. Rose checks herself for any mixed atoms with the cat. Nope, no mixed atoms. Looks like she and the cat got to keep their genes to themselves. And that cat whose name is... She'll think of one later. Where the heck is she anyways? She looks around the room. Oh, she's back home. The well-stacked bar and the vantage from the window tells her that this is her mom's room. Or at least, what she thought was her room. She decides not to be especially melodramatic about this revelation. Rose watches the meteor impact. That's funny. Shouldn't that place be unestablished by now? The downpour of smaller meteors has stopped. Better get out of here. This room is a powder cake with all the booze lying around. John gets down to business. Suddenly, he's feeling very businessman-like for some reason. He just punched a shitload of cards in anticipation of making a whole lot of cool stuff. This time, he didn't foolishly destroy any items. He just looked at the codes for some objects and rounded them up and punched them on blank cards. He wonders how much alchemizing he can get away with before Rose gets back, as if she's got any right to tell him what to do with his hard-earned grist. He's the one running around here putting his ass on the line. All she's got to do is mess around with her computer. Anyway, he better hurry. Jade dreams. She's now dreaming. Her dream bot is awake and active. She obliquely foreshadows future through interpretive dance. Her silly dance foreshadows nothing and is essentially meaningless, but it sure is a lot of fun. Quick, get into bed! She climbs into bed and tries to get comfortable, but some sort of invisible force is pressing down on her. A strange feeling of cold, heavy metal. This happens every time she tries to get into bed. No wonder she can never get any sleep. Jade, realize you can fly. There's not much to realize. Of course you can fly. Jade opens the package. She stops all this flying around nonsense and examines John's birthday package. Unfortunately, she cannot open it yet. This package has an important journey to make first. She's planning on delivering it momentarily. Good thing she already knows what's inside, otherwise she would surely be consumed by curiosity and suspense. She sincerely pities anyone who might be forced to endure such a fate. Months in the past, though. Enough for the weather to be seasonally reconcilable. Happy birthday, Jade. Yay, thank you, John. Phew, okay, I got your present in the mail just in time. Plus I sent Rose's and Dave's too. Why do you guys' birthdays have to be all bunched together like that? You're running me ragged. I know, but it is nice of you to think of all this like that. I can't wait for you to see what I got you. I don't want to spoil it or anything, but hopefully it'll help to solve those problems you've been having lately. Mysterious wink. I'm sure it is great. I can't wait either. It might take a while to get here from there, but it will be worth the wait. Oh man, I'm such an idiot. I forgot how long it takes you to get stuff. John, that's okay, really. I'm sure we'll get me exactly when it needs to, and it'll be a nice surprise when it does. Okay, well, I hope so. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I had to tell someone to go away. Oh god, the trolls again? Yep. They've been such a pain in the ass lately. It seems like there are so many. There are either like 50 of him, or it's one guy with a lot of alternate accounts. I've never had any sort of feeling about them or what they want, which is kind of weird. But it seems like to me like they're probably all different people and not one guy. I've counted 12. What do they want with us? Some people just like to needle others for some reason, John. It's like a game, I guess. They are like pranksters. Oh hell no, shittiest pranksters ever. But I think they're mostly harmless. Every so often they manage to get through my block filter and hassle me. It's been going on for years. Actually, some of them are kind of funny, I think. Oh wow, what? Years? Okay, well, I am sick of them. I've been thinking of changing my pester jump handle to throw them off the trail, so I guess I'm gonna do that. John makes totems. He's already carved a few more totems, but he has to return to the living room for more Cruxite dolls. His carving work is not nearly complete. Every time he re-enters his room, he shudders at the recent handiwork of some mischievous imps. He just can't turn his back on them for a second. Rotten imps, those posters were like children to him. Rose flees the room. At long last, she's returned to her bedroom, with a stable power supply and internet connection. Vodka Martini purrs at her side. You suppose you will call it Muti for short. Rose pesters John. That's quite a totem collection. Whoa. Huh. That's quite a totem collection. What are you planning? Oh, whoa, hi. Oh, gonna make some stuff. Are you okay? Hasn't your house been on fire for like 5 hours now? Well, that was the nearby forest, which up until quite recently would have been best described as on fire, but you may be excited to learn that just as recently, my house finally notched that achievement. Wow, congrats, I guess? Thank you. Have you seen Dave? Nah, his bro is probably busy kicking his ass. That's probably all there is to say on the matter. Okay, I'm gonna start putting this grist to use too. Let's be sparing with the frivolous knick-knack breeding and focus on getting you up to the gate, okay? Yeah, okay, I hear you, but I think we have plenty. I've been killing imps all over the house, and now it's lousy with gushers. Gushers? I mean grist. Serves them right for ruining my posters, bastards. Which posters? Don't you see my sweet movie posters? Look at them, they're fucking ruined. John, are you suggesting that imps are responsible for defacing your movie posters? Yeah. Your posters have looked like that ever since I first saw your room. The moment we started playing this game, I thought you'd defaced them ironically to mock your father's interests. John? Very funny, Rose. Ha 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 ha. Nice joke. Great joke there, Rose. Top of the line prank. Hey hey. Ha 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 ha. This is good. Laughter is probably the best way to avoid being especially melodramatic about the revelation. Yes, yes, let's keep this joke going because it's such a good one. Ha 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 ha. Oh my. Ha 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 ha. The vagabond descends. He cannot descend from the top of his molestation. The loose cable he gathered and tied together is not yet long enough to allow him to reach the ground safely. He's used all the cable he can find. He'll have to come up with another plan. He could sacrifice his mayoral sash for more cables. But no. He purifies the temple. It's a dumb idea. Not as dumb as using his sash, but it comes close. The temple's way too big. He'd probably just end up purifying a chunk of useless, boring rock. Wait, what's that? There's something dangling from the top of one of the towers of the temple. Command Serenity to carry the rope to you. Okay. Alright, my voice is getting tired of talking. I'm gonna call it a night. Thanks for watching if you did.